Hey, I'm Avery Gonzalez, the Chief Strategist here at Digital Harvest, and I want to share some cutting edge information with you about the state of local search for 2025, in particular for the home service industry. Most home service businesses that are thriving off of the traffic that they're getting from Google would literally die if something happened to that traffic, if it went away tomorrow, because so much of the business relies on local search. And the nature of most home service businesses is that people really need your services when they are searching for them. So there's some massive changes happening with Google right now, and actually the state of search as it stands with new technology advancements, algorithm changes by Google, and several other factors. We've been having conversations with prospects recently who've been working with SEO companies for several years, complaining and noticing that traffic year over year and the actual leads and sales that are generated from Google are starting to shrink. What they're seeing is the gains and things that they'd seen in the past are starting to level off and even drop in a lot of cases. This is most noticeable in bigger businesses that are doing millions of dollars a year, because just a small change in what you're getting from this massive traffic source has major implications on your top line revenue. So from those conversations and some of the things that we've been seeing, pivoting and adapting to with our own client roster, made it important to record this video for you here today and share with you what's changing, what's happening right now, and 3 things that you can do as a business owner to insulate yourself from these changes and thrive moving forward. So if you're somebody who's got an intense level of search engine knowledge, a lot of this stuff is not going to be news for you. However, the implications and what you can do about it might be. If you're a business owner and you've got an agency working for you, this is going to be groundbreaking, because not everybody's talking about this and not everybody's making the pivots and adjustments in order to get ahead of it. And it's not specifically related towards AI. That's a part of what we're talking about today, but it's only a part of it. The fact of the matter is, Google is still king. Google is still responsible for generating the majority of the quality leads that you're looking for in your home service business. But the landscape is changing fast. Like I mentioned, Google's made some big changes. We're going to talk about that. There's new tools and technology, such as AI, that are making it more attainable for smaller businesses to achieve a dominant position in Google search. And there's just a lot of implications that are coming up for business owners. And there's some real factors and reasons, things that you might even be noticing now, that are impacting your ability to generate more business through search. And this goes beyond just Google, the stuff that we're talking about today. It goes beyond that, but this is going to give you a head start in how you think about it and how you switch up your search strategy moving forward. We first started noticing the major shifts with one of our bigger clients who's really on top of their numbers. So they've got great reporting both internally and from us in our marketing efforts about what's happening year over year with the business. So they're really aware and in tune with the marketing metrics, actual phone calls, form fills, real leads generated on the marketing side, and they're very aware of the sales side and how many calls are converting into appointments, and of those appointments, which of those are just service calls, which of those turn into installs. Very aware of the numbers. So during this heavy season for them, what is typically peak season for them, they noticed that things were dropping off. Well, taking them on earlier this year from the previous marketing company that they were with, we didn't have access to the same year-over-year data that we normally have for clients, but we did have access to their Google Analytics, their Google Search Console, and their Google Business Profile. Here's where it's interesting. When we looked at the data and we started digging in to try to figure out, is it really some year-over-year thing? Is there something weird going on with the seasonality? We found some pretty interesting information. Inside their Google Analytics account, traffic wasn't different from the last year. In fact, traffic from Google search was up due to some of the things that we'd already implemented. So why are the leads going down? Like, what's really going on? We looked at Google Search Console to see how these different pages and parts of the website are performing in local search and if they're being clicked on and so forth. Again, same story. Things were either level or better in terms of their search visibility in the first few months of what we were able to do for them versus last year. So it's like, where is all the traffic going? And the answer is really something that's been coming for a long time. Now, the reason we noticed this so early with this client is because they're doing millions and millions of dollars a year in revenue. So when you have a small downturn, even just 5%, you notice that tens of thousands of dollars in sales are not happening this year over last year. So the markers start coming in more quickly. You can see them faster than with a smaller business who might just feel like things haven't changed that much, even though they are. So with this client, we had a nice heads up because we could then see that the data that we had access to wasn't telling the full story of what's actually occurring. So looking further into it, this is where we arrive at the state of SEO for 2025. What we've discovered is, and this may not be news to you, but you've seen it, the writing's been on the wall for a long time, the pie is shrinking. The actual traffic that's available to you in Google search is shrinking. And that's by design because Google is a for-profit business. They serve up search results to a consumer in order to give them the best curated options for their search. And they take into account all kinds of different factors in order to decide who they serve up to a prospective searcher. Right? That's the product that a consumer is looking at. When they go to Google search, they can type something in and they can get a great result, a company that they can call and depend on to get their work done. From Google's perspective, okay, now they've created a resource, people to come search and find stuff. They're now wondering, how can we monetize this? And for years, we've known that Google ads are the way that they monetize it. However, in our industry for search engine optimization, we have been playing the game for a long time. And how do we get as much of that free traffic as possible for our clients without having to pay for the ads? Google does not like that. As a for-profit entity, yes, they need quality search results to come up in the Google Maps and these organic sections. We're going to talk about that here more in just a moment. But they're still a for-profit entity at the end of the day. And so it's a little bit like Facebook. You know how Facebook has changed, where it used to be like every 7th post was an ad, and now it's every 3rd or 4th post is an ad? Facebook is trying to maximize how much advertising space they can sell on their platform without getting visitors to leave. Google is doing the same thing. They're asking, how can we squeeze even more out of this? And that's affecting you, the small business owner, who is wanting and needing that traffic from Google. All right, so let's take a look at what I'm talking about here. We do a simple search. We're based out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'm going to do a search here that is relative to us. It's going to give me good search results to show you and demonstrate what it is that I'm talking about. So we're in the heating season right now. So typing in a search term like heating repair Albuquerque, this is what I see. Couple things I want to point out here. This first section up here is all of the Google local service ads. In order to get in here, you have to go through the Google Guaranteed program, get this green check mark. You can serve ads up in this section. You scroll a little bit more and you see all of these sponsored ads. This is the Google Ads platform. This is what's been around since like forever. Even before I even got into SEO about 10 years ago as a profession, this has been here. But notice that you don't even see the map section anymore. And this is where the majority of our clients receive phone calls from. People clicking in the maps. Why? Because it's very visual. You can see all the reviews. It ranks them the top 3. It's very, just click and boom, you're going to generate the lead. And it just takes up all this space, right? Scroll down again, and now we see what we call the organic listings, the quote, top 10 on Google. Well, look at the number 1 position. Number 1 position is 2 full screen scrolls down. What we noticed, I think, several years ago, is that these results down here generate very little traffic. It used to be the case before that if you could get, on this top 10 or especially top 3, that you would get a boatload of traffic, even if you weren't in the map section. It's just not the case anymore. Google has really pushed everything down in favor of the ads. That's the first big change and big push that's happening. It used to be the case that there might be one local service ad here at the top and then one Google ad. Now it's 2 and 2. Every search result's going to look a little bit different, but in most of the home service industries, you're going to see similar search results. Okay? So the first thing is that these ads are more prominent than ever. And even though people have a little bit of distrust behind the ads, there's still less people that are scrolling than was the case before in order to reach the Google Maps section and those top 10 search results. The second big issue is that now more than ever, the proximity of the searcher to the business in the business listing carries more weight than ever before. We've seen this time and time again, and I got some great evidence here to show you why this is the case and what's really going on. Google knows that how far you're located from a business is important when you're considering, calling them for service. So knowing that, Google's not always going to suggest the same top 3 businesses in this maps result, depending on where you're searching. Okay? It's going to probably choose the closest competitor, and then the other 2 results are going to be maybe the biggest game in town. But even in some cases, like larger metropolitan areas, if a business is located on the north side of the city, even if they're the big game in town, searchers in the south side of the city may not even see them. I'll give you an example of this. This is one of the tools we use to monitor our results and client results on Google Maps. And it gives us this cool little grid that tells us, okay, for a particular search term, this is where the business shows up in Google Maps, this section over here. This is where the business shows up in Google Maps if you're searching from this location. So, insider tip, our business is located in the upper left-hand quadrant, the northwest quadrant of Albuquerque. And so if you look at this grid, you'll notice that there's a lot of 1s and 2s up here in the top left of the grid closest to the business. So we are one of the big dogs here in town on Google search. And you can see that while we have visibility, great visibility through most of the city, there's a section here where there's a lot of orange, a lot of yellow, where our business is showing up in the top 10, top 11 search results. Why is that the case when we're obviously dominating everything else? It's because if you were to go to Google Maps and did this keyword search and you zoomed in on this area, you would find that we have several competitors that are over in that district, in that part of town. And so when you think about somebody in this area doing a Google search, let's say this is your business, they're doing a Google search over here, why would Google show you a business that's located 10 miles away when there's businesses that are right there that can satisfy your search? They're probably not. So what's going on here is a pure demonstration that proximity to the searcher matters, and that the top 3 in maps is no longer really a thing. People will say, I can get you into the map section. Well, where can you get me into the map section? And how much of that maps can you dominate? And the answer is, you are limited by your competition. You have to go really, really hard in order to get the top 3 results throughout your entire city. In most cases, in competitive industries, it's just not going to happen. So this is really good for new businesses, because you can put a Google business listing on the map and you can automatically get traffic right from your general area. But this is bad news for bigger, more established businesses, because now the pie is getting smaller for where people can find you through a regular search. The last thing that we're seeing that's really affecting the overall traffic that's available through Google search, and when you compare your website and your overall performance versus your competitors, AI content is really changing the game, and it's dominating. Okay, because there are tools now where search engine companies like ourselves, we can, number one, create more content that Google likes for your website that's better quality, and we can get more quantity at the same time. So, in the case before, we would have fully human writers, usually US based, that are, paid a high salary in order to accomplish the task. And when you take a client's budget and you try to do the work with the budget, there's only so much you can do when you're having to pay a lot of money for that. AI has allowed for companies like us to produce 4 to 8 times as much content as before with the same budget. So, in more competitive industries, home services, most of the home service businesses like roofing, HVAC, plumbing, restoration, locksmithing, garage doors, these are businesses that are paying a lot of money in order to acquire leads from Google. When you pair that together with what we're able to do from an agency perspective, is really dominate people that are not playing the same game. All right, so we could do a whole webinar just on this piece alone, but the part I wanted to focus on is that now your competition are using agencies like ours to create better quality and more quantity of content on their website in order to stay competitive and in order to grab more market share. So, all things being equal, you play this out for a couple years, the businesses that are utilizing AI are going to be light years ahead of the ones who don't, simply from the perspective of quantity. And Google is looking at this. If you churn out just a bunch of crap, this is not going to work, right? But supposing that you have good people using AI to just leverage their time better, they're just killing everybody. So when you look at who shows up in the top 10 results, businesses that used to be there aren't necessarily there anymore because they stopped and they took their eye off the ball. Where does this leave you in 2025, and how do you have to think about this different in order to keep your market share but also build into it? I've got 3 things for you, and what we're recommending and what we're utilizing with our clients right now is a blended search strategy. Okay, so gone are the days of just being able to get enough business with the Google Maps and those organic listings. We talked about that here at length. Blended search is the way forward, and you have to start to think about how you attack the search engines a little bit different now. And I will touch on AI here, but I'm going to give you solutions that you can fully utilize with or without AI, but keeping in the back of your mind that at some point you need to deploy it, your agency needs to deploy it, or we can come in and we can help you deploy it on your behalf. So let's look at this. The first thing that you can do, and I advocate doing, is number 1, signing up for Google Guarantee, going through that process, and utilizing local service ads. The local service ads are the ones that are here at the top. They're really great because even though in some cases you will pay more money for leads that come through the LSA section, Google will also protect you from spam. So they're only going to charge you for real phone calls. And if you get a bad phone call, you can dispute it and get your money back. And it's a way better system than what you've probably seen and experienced before if you've ever been on Angie's List or, what was Home Advisor. Thumbtack is another platform that's similar. You can dispute the leads, but the leads are much higher quality and it's only going to the one business, right? You click on an ad for this business here at the top, it's going to go to that business. It's not getting shared out to other people. So number 1, you got to get in here because you're insulated from the risk of getting bad leads. And secondly, you can choose the maximum amount that you want to spend, and Google will never spend more than that, both at the lead level and your overall weekly, monthly budget. So it's a great tool to put in place to augment what you're already doing, okay? And it allows you to capture this traffic that's at the very top of this page. The second thing is, it's part of the first thing, it's also utilizing Google Ads. If you're not technical, I wouldn't go here until you maybe get some help from either a freelancer or a full-scale agency that can manage this for you, because there's a lot that can go wrong with Google Ads and really drive that price up, and you'll be spending money maybe that you don't want to spend or at a more rapid pace. But if you've already maxed out and you're maxing out your local SEO, you've already, cleaning up here on local service ads, the next place that you want to be here is in the regular Google ads. So you can see the opportunity for you is to be in 4 places. 1, 2, 3, 4 places on the first page of Google. That's better than having 1 or 2, isn't it? That's the first recommendation. This is all something that any business owner can reach for, whether or not they're represented by an agency right now. The second thing is to double down on your reviews. So automation is going to be something that will help you get about 15 to 20% of your customers to leave a review without you asking or doing much. The businesses that we represent that are doing super well with generating more reviews are the ones who have a process with their technicians. Every single time they're asking for the review, they're giving a business card to scan, or they're having the customer do it right before they leave. Some might be doing some incentivization. We don't advocate for that because it can get a little bit sticky, but they're putting a lot of importance on reviews. This is the one thing that you have in your control that can set you apart from other businesses, and it will both help you from a marketing perspective, so generate more visibility, more leads, and from the sales perspective, because when people see better reviews and then they call you, they're more sold already than if they hadn't seen all those reviews. They picked your business over others because of the reviews that they saw. So reviews are super important, and reviews will also show up in your Google LSA ads, right? You see this here at the top. Reviews are getting shown for these businesses that are here. Those reviews are what you see in Google Maps. And additionally, there's reviews that people can send just to your local service ads. So it's not exactly what you see in Google Maps, but it's a lot of overlap. And so reviews just help you at every single level, both marketing and sales, in order to help your business grow. And the cool thing is like the more you build it, the better and better it works for you and your brand. So totally in your wheelhouse for something that you can execute on. There's lots of different platforms that offer automation. Any of them work well, basically, at this point, and you can't go wrong. So the third thing is, and this is a little bit ninja, it's a little bit tricky, but it's well worth it, is adding new locations for your business. So that means new Google business profiles. So right now, it's pretty difficult to go through Google's verification process. We do have some resources I'll attach to this video or on this page if you just look around for them, on how to identify a good place to add a new location, the verification process and what it looks like now because it's different than several years ago, and the different required documents that Google's going to be asking for in order to verify that this business location is real. So one of the things that we did with one of our clients is right away, we went and found a location in a target demographic in an area where they wanted to penetrate, but the cost of reaching them with Google ads and the cost of reaching them with Google local service ads was pretty high and prohibitive. The math just doesn't always work out. But adding a new business location made a lot of sense for them. They were able to go in, get an office for $600, $800 a month, furnish it. We helped them go through the verification process. There were 2 video verifications. There were documents that had to be submitted, and then boom, they had this new location. And what did we find out? We found out that within 3 months, adding this new location bumped up their overall lead flow by 25%. That's nuts. 25%. So this is the real hack right now in order to get more business when you're a local, like a service area business. People aren't coming to your location. So that's everybody that's watching this video, right? People aren't supposed to come to your shop. You're sending technicians out to go and do the work. Putting a new Google business listing on the map is the key to penetrating new areas of the city or the service area that you're really trying to get after. Because as we showed earlier in this presentation, proximity matters. That's the long and short of it. So we got some resources to support you here. It's not a given that you can do this, but the math is always going to work out with adding a new location if you're in the home service business, because the ticket and the average sale is going to be higher than, like a restaurant. That's not really a good example, but you get my meaning. All right. Here's the deal. Even with these three things, you can do these things now in order to position you well for 2025 and beyond. But you also need to make sure that you have an agency on your side who is leveraging AI in order to propel the business forward. You're hearing probably a lot of talk about how people's search intent and how they search for things is changing. They say that younger demographics are doing things like searching on Instagram and TikTok for stuff. But when it comes to home services, I guarantee you these people are not searching for a plumber near them on TikTok, okay? They're still going to places like Google. Now, what about ChatGPT, Claude, some of these other companies that are creating somewhat of a search engine out of their GPT? Not to worry, my friend, not to worry. Where do you think these GPTs get their information from? Google, right? They initially go through Google to find all the websites, get all the information, and then include them in their database. They find it on the internet. So if you follow all the things that I've shared with you here, and you continue to update the information that's available about your business, the stuff that's on the website, the reviews that you're getting, yada yada, that stuff will get referenced by these other search engines, these other, versions of ChatGPT, and people will still find their way to your business. So in the short run, it still works for you to continue to build your web presence because Google's still king, and all of these GPTs coming out are going to be referencing the content they can find on the web through primarily Google's index. That's how they're going to find the information. And then if you really think about it, those competitors that are coming out, they still have to engineer their own kind of algorithm to serve up the same or different results to Google. So right now, Google has already figured out what matters to customers on the ground when they're looking for a local service. So because they're the king at that, it's going to be difficult for others to come in and emulate and create a search function that even rivals that or can even compare, right? They're going to be years behind on that part of it. So the point is, don't have to worry about all the traffic leaving Google because at the end of the day, we are putting more information out on the internet about your business. And that information is what's going to help people searching anywhere on the web to find your stuff. It's a very top level explanation that I've given here, and there's more to it. Again, could do a whole webinar on this, but this is what you need to keep in mind. Okay. So we're here for you here at Digital Harvest. If your business has seen a decline in the traffic that you're getting year over year, book a call with me. Let's talk about it. Let's get you back on track and make sure that we insulate your business in 2025 and beyond. Help you put together a plan in order to grow and get there. We'll help you put together everything that we need to execute on these 3 suggestions on your behalf so that your business is secure moving forward, right? We've also shared a couple resources in this video. You can find them below or on the company website. There should be links or something around here. You can go check out those resources, start implementing them. Let us know how it goes. But if you do want some help, book that call with me. We'll talk about it, put together a plan for your right fit, then we'll get to work and we'll start executing on it. So the future's bright when you're aware of what's coming. It's pretty scary if you don't know what to do, but it's agencies like us who are paying attention, who are changing with the trends, that are on top of it, that are helping businesses like yours thrive in 2025. So with that, I appreciate you for watching, listening. If there's a friend you know in the industry that could benefit from this info, make sure to send it to them. Right? Everybody needs to know things are changing. And if your digital marketing, your SEO agency isn't thinking about these things or talking about them with you already, it might be time to find somebody new, right? Because they're going to be behind in a year versus on top of it. All right. Look forward to hearing from you. Appreciate you for listening. We'll talk soon. Thanks so much for watching today's video. If you like this video, you'll probably like the rest of them on our YouTube channel. Go ahead and check them out. Subscribe for more, and we'll catch you on the next video. Bye for now.